and good morning. I don't like doing this, but I'm emailing as many journalist emails as I could possibly find over the weekend. I've been resisting doing this for over a year now. I am autistic and I've got severe anxiety, and Waltham Forest Council are basically ignoring my health. By the way, that is just a week's worth of rubbish, which I can't get out of my flat because Waltham Forest Council refused to take it. They have sent me several letters threatening me that if I store it in my flat, it's a breach of my tenancy and I will get evicted. If I put it outside, because I live in a flat on the second floor, if I put it outside, then it's a breach of the tenancy, I will get evicted. But they haven't given me any idea of what I'm supposed to do with it. So, up until last week, I was getting people off the internet to come round and pick it up. So, I've stopped doing that because it's not people on the internet. I'm putting myself at risk by getting strangers to throw my rubbish for me. And because of my autism, I need a regular thing, like the council can organise, because they do it for housebound people in houses. But apparently you're not disabled enough if you live in a flat. So, and this is what I've had to put up with Waltham Forest Council for the best part of 3 years now. They've put a blanket ban on me. They're refusing to fulfil my freedom of information requests. The Waltham Forest Council are falsifying data. They're sending letters out dated before they actually sent them out. So on record, when it's checked, then it looks fine. But if you check it against the date it was actually printed or saved first, then it isn't fine. But no one does that. They just check the paperwork. As I can prove, because I've had several complaints just thrown out by Waltham Forest Council because the paperwork is okay. It's not good enough. I've got a week's worth of rubbish, including cat litter over there, and because I can't get out, half of that is packaging material. Because I have to get everything delivered because I'm too afraid to go out because my neighbours bully and threaten me and the council do nothing. One of them is on drugs and the council does nothing. I don't know, I've tried emailing all the MPs last week, and because of parliamentary protocol there's nothing they can do. I had quite a few MPs write personally to me and call me last week, apart from my own MP, Ian Duncan Smith, who refuses to communicate directly with me. I've not had one communication from him or his office in 3 years. The only communications I've received is when I've had to chase them for communications. Other MPs, I found out last week, copy me in when they send stuff over to my MP. My MP won't copy me on anything. Ian Duncan Smith seems to be too proud, too good to actually comply with customer service standards. I should feel so lucky that he does anything. I should feel lucky that he takes my calls. Because after all, 400 MPs blocked my email address last week on the first email. That doesn't seem reasonable. I'm not a well person. I've been trying to get well. I've been under counselling and therapy for years now. And the way that Waltham Forest Council treat me, they threaten and bully me. The housing have threatened and bullied me. I do what they say or I get evicted. I've got a telephone recording of that. They refuse to comply with their responsibilities in law. They've actually told me if I don't like it, then consult a solicitor. Well, that's not the thing that public service people are supposed to do. And to top it all off, they don't believe that I'm housebound. And this is made worse by the fact my own GP doesn't believe I'm housebound. Housebound due to anxiety of I'm afraid of being shouted at and verbally attacked every time I leave my front door. I find it stressful just picking up parcels from my front door, never mind stepping across the threshold. But unfortunately, I have tried the local press and no one seems to want to know. So I'm trying as many news agencies and papers and freelance journalists as I can find. Because I can't put up with this anymore. Waltham Forest Council, like many other councils, seem to be untouchable under the law. And I'm not the only one that's going through this misery. And I believe my story is only the tip of the iceberg. I beg you, journalists, please investigate this. I will give you whatever information and whatever assistance I can. I have documentary evidence that the council have been racist towards me. I've got documentary evidence, or at least I could, if I can confirm it with a freedom of information request, which the council keep refusing, evidence that they've tampered with data. On one occasion, a couple of years ago, I got a letter predated by 3 weeks. Now that is wrong. Just because they missed the deadline don't mean... I know myself. I've worked in the civil service for 10 years before I had my problem 3 years ago and had multiple breakdowns and suicide attempts. I'm not saying love me, I've had a rough life, but I have had a rough life. My mum died when I was 6 or 7, depending on how you argue the case. My dad died when I was in my 20s. I was in an abusive... Well, my dad was abusive to begin with. He was hitting me with sticks and belts and slippers. And I sat alone upstairs most of my life, most of my young life. And then I was in an abusive marriage for 7 years, where I was literally at knife point for most of those 7 years, being threatened and bullied by my wife. Back in a time when people didn't accept that men were being abused domestically. It's not so bad now, but back then, we're talking 90s. People didn't believe me when I said I was being threatened and bullied at home. I don't know what to do. I've been doing these diary entries now for about 3 years. More so over the last year. More for my purpose. It's more therapy for me. It gives me, even if no one watches it, it gives me someone to talk to. YouTube. And it gets it off my chest. Because I am alone. I don't have any support. The council knows this. The council knew this when I signed my tenancy. I made sure they knew it. And yet, I get threatened, bullied, and intimidated by the council and my neighbours. And I don't get any support from the council whatsoever. I mean, what am I supposed to do with that amount of rubbish a week? 6, 7 bags, I think there is over there. 3 of them include cat litter, used cat litter. Thank you, Waltham Forest Council, for not complying with legislation. I've told them 3 years ago when I signed my tenancy that I have protected rights under the 2010 Equality Act. My housing officer didn't even know what the 2010 Equality Act was, so how can he enforce it? Please, someone out there must be able to do something. I can understand the MPs having their hands tied, because it is up to Ian Duncan Smith. But my councillors refused to communicate directly with me without giving me a reason. And that's the thing. Waltham Forest Council will give you a yes or no, but they won't explain. When they do answer you, they don't explain their answers. And by law, the ombudsmans all say they are supposed to explain their decisions. And yet Waltham Forest Council refuse to do so. Please, journalists, I'm not going to keep you for long, but please, someone, somewhere, please help me. I am at the edge and I don't know who to ask anymore. I have literally asked everyone, ranging from the National Autistic Society and Mind, who, by the way, Mind don't return my phone calls. I've left messages for Mind and they don't return calls. Shelter have said I've done everything I can. CAB in my area aren't paid to do what I'm asking them for. They're literally for repairs and rents and that's it. That's all Waltham Forest Council will tell them they can support. Funny that, isn't it? And the only other charity in the area got closed down last year by Waltham Forest Council when they withdrew funding, probably because too many people were using their services. Anyway, I'm not going to carry on. It's been a tough weekend. I need to get some rest. Thank you for going this far. And please, I look forward to your call or your assistance somehow. Thank you.